Thank you. Please be seated. The chairman and the board of directors of KTDA and the management of the Tea Board of Kenya, PS Agriculture, and all our officers from the Ministry of Agriculture, and all stakeholders in the tea subsector, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to preside over the flagging of ceremony of the second consignment of fertilizer to the smallholder tea grower this year under the Kenya Kwanza government fertilizer subsidy program as promised by His Excellency President William Ruto. The flagging of this second consignment of fertilizer to tea growers across the nation will ease the burden of farmers in a great way. The 3.7 billion Kenya shillings subsidy for the fertilizer announced by President Ruto saw the cost of 50 kg bag drop from 6,500 to 3,500 for our farmers. This is a promise we made and we have kept. As the Kenya Kwanza government, we remain committed to the agricultural reforms for increased productivity of all the sectors. The role played by the tea subsector in Kenya cannot be gainsaid. It is one of the key drivers of Kenya's socio-economic development and a pillar of economic growth. It provides a source of livelihood directly to over 750,000 farmers, 90% of whom are smallholder tea growers. It also supports 7 million Kenyans indirectly, representing about 13% of the country's population. It contributes about 2% of the GDP and 4% of the agricultural GDP. It earns the country about Kenya shillings 120 billion in exports, which translates to approximately 26% of foreign exchange earnings. It is key in the infrastructural development of 19 tea growing counties. Globally, Kenya is the third leading producer of tea and the biggest exporter, accounting for 28% of the world tea exports. In the year 2021, the tea sector earned the country 136 billion Kenya shillings in foreign exchange. This year, we project the export earnings from the sector to start at 150 billion Kenya shillings. Despite its performance, the government is well aware that the tea industry has been experiencing various challenges which threaten its stability and sustainability. I challenge the leadership of the tea sector to come up with innovative and practical ways to solve these challenges to ensure the small farmer benefits out of their hard work. I'm aware of the smallholder tea factories made a decision to fix a minimum reserve price to cushion farmers against the fluctuation of tea prices from an all-time low of $1.89 per kg to date. This decision has resulted in improved prices to an average of $2.64 per kg in October 2022. Several key reforms have been introduced by the Tea Act 2020 aimed at improving returns to the tea farmer by reducing the various costs borne by the tea growers, cushioning the tea growers against price fluctuations, and enhancing governance and operational efficiency along tea value chain. To cushion tea farmers from an upsurge in fertilizer prices occasioned by the global economic factors, leading to the decline in returns for the tea farmer, the government has provided 4.4 billion Kenya shillings as fertilizer subsidy to tea farmers in all the 54 small tea factories this financial year. We'll work together to ensure these challenges are addressed. I'm aware that KTDA has enhanced initial green leaf monthly payments to smallholder tea grower of Kenya shillings 17 from 17 Kenya shillings to between 20 and 21 per kilogram, depending on the region. Monthly payments to tea farmers are also being remitted on a timely basis by the first week, that is the 5th of every month, as opposed to the third week, and I commend you. In this regard, tea farmers will be able to pay for the fertilizer with ease. However, I'm aware that the full implementation of the tea reforms has been hampered by ex parte court orders suspending the implementation of several provisions of the Tea Act. I'm also aware that though tea growers from 54 tea factories have elected new directors through the democratic system on one grower, one vote, using their respective factory company memorandum and articles of association, this has also been contested by the previous office bearers. Finally, in order to sustain improved returns to the tea farmers, it is important for us to sustain the momentum in implementing the tea reform agenda. Thank you so much, and God bless you. President William Ruto and I and our team believe the only way to sort out the economy of this country and turn it around is through increased productivity in agriculture. And the only way to improve the quality of lives for the people of Kenya is to make sure that our farmers get value for money. And the farmers who toil every day get adequately compensated for their sweat. Our government is so keen on agriculture that in every discussion that we have with the president, 25% of our time on any discussion is about matters agriculture and enhanced productivity. I come from a tea growing area, and those who followed our campaign with the president, we gave a commitment to tea farmers in Kenya that if William Ruto is elected as president and I as his deputy, within 1 year, farmers will have increased earnings. That is a promise we intend to keep. I want to assure KTDA that you are very serious partners, because both yourselves and ourselves serve the same farmer. The same farmer who elected you as directors are the same farmers who elected William Ruto and I to the presidency. So we are joined together at the hip. And I want to request you kindly work with us. We have time for you. We shall do everything possible to assist KDDA to increase productivity so that our farmers can have better earnings. I want to challenge the management of KTDA to very urgently work out on a program on how to increase productivity in orthodox tea, which has better earnings for our farmers. The Ruto administration is willing to support you with the policies, with interventions, and resources to increase productivity of orthodox tea so that our farmers can get better earnings. So I really want to urge you as a board to sit down and work out on a roadmap on how to increase productivity of orthodox tea. Again, the president has made a commitment publicly and privately on the need to work on value addition for our tea. Our government is committed fully and totally to work with you so that we enhance and we create a good climate and opportunity to have value addition for our tea. That will not only increase our earnings, but it will also create employment for our people. So the management of the KTDA, the board, please know that you have a serious partner. And that is why I want to say, for the avoidance of doubt, the Ruto administration will not allow anybody to destabilize the tea subsector. This sector is so important to our country in terms of foreign exchange earnings, in terms of supporting thousands and thousands of farmers, in terms of indirectly assisting millions of Kenyans, we cannot allow anybody to destabilize the subsector. Those who have ambition to lead the factories, the board, should wait for the next election and contest. And once they are elected by the farmers, they'll have an opportunity to come and give their contribution. For now, we request them to allow the directors in office to do what they were elected to do by the farmers. And the government will not allow. So we know also there are many court cases, and we want to appeal to the former directors to be magnanimous to the Kenyan farmer. Why do you want to take the farmer through endless court battles because of leadership? Why don't you just wait for this team to complete its term, and then you'll have an opportunity to go back to the farmers and ask to be given a second chance? That is the way democracy works. But these endless court cases are not good for the industry, and we'll be telling the farmers when we come round who means well for them and who doesn't mean well for them, so that they know. You cannot say you mean well to the tea farmers, yet you want to stall the tea reforms. You want to complicate the work of the management. I appeal to the former directors to be patriotic and to be thankful to farmers for having given them a chance to lead them at that time and allow another team to lead. And then we can compare between that time you were in office and now, when is the farmer more happier? And then the farmers will make the decision. I want to ask our farmers across the country, once they get this fertilizer, to apply it properly, to tend their tea, to take care of it, and make sure that we have quality tea. The government will do everything possible to work with KTDA, with the Tea Board of Kenya, with the Ministry of Agriculture, to boost productivity, to look for market for our tea. And I want to confirm to the leadership of the tea subsector that our new foreign policy, we have a paradigm shift in our approach to foreign policy. The ambassadors and high commissioners who will be appointed by the Ruto administration will have an MOU with us that 70% of their work in the respective missions across the world is to look for new markets and enhance the existing markets for Kenya's produce, including tea. That is what we want the ambassadors to do. Because for planning purposes, as we do everything possible to increase productivity, we must prepare a complementary market for the increased production. Because if we produce more tea, we must look for new markets. We must enhance the existing markets. And we want our ambassadors, our high commissioners, to pursue Kenyans' economic interest in the countries they have been accredited. And the most important is our agricultural produce: coffee, tea, milk, miraa, rice, horticulture, floriculture, and that is something we are going to do, and we'll see. And I have no doubt in my mind, the President and I, we are clear that if our envoys abroad work very hard to look for new markets, to enhance the existing markets, expand them, it will also encourage increased productivity, because production must go together with market. And that is the focus of our government. So we want to tell those people who are doubt that the new president is hands-on. And in matters of agriculture, he is an expert. When he was Ministry of Agriculture, this country made serious strides in terms of developing our agricultural sector. And our president is passionate about matters of agriculture. And we are there supporting him. as soon as the new cabinet secretary for agriculture is sworn into office, we'll have a rollout program to move around the country, engaging the farmers and looking for various interventions to make sure that we increase productivity and we get good prices for the various produces that our farmers produce. And I want to tell you that this is the way to go. There is no other way to go. This program of subsidizing fertilizer is the way to go. We have refused to subsidize consumption because it's not sustainable. But once you subsidize production, effectively, the cost of food will come down. And that is a sustainable way. So we want to assure our farmers that the government will support them. It matters fertilizer, it matters quality seed, it matters extension, and we're asking our governors across the country, the 47 counties, where we have a program for subsidizing fertilizer to assist us in the last mile distribution. Of course, for KTDA, we don't have a challenge because you have a very good structure, the factory system. This fertilizer, the nearby counties, it should be there by today. But for the other crops, where we don't have a structure similar to KTDA, and we have fertilizer that has been subsidized by government, we'll be partnering with the county governments so that they can assist us, because agriculture is a devolved function. They can assist us in the last mile distribution and making sure that the fertilizer reaches all the farmers as intended.
The first lorry, thank you. A hand of applause to His Excellency. Tumeweza kuandikishwa ili fertilizer hiyo iweze kutumika kwa urahisi. Wale wengine tusisonge sana, thank you. Ndio vile imeanza hivi sasa haisimami. Diriaini, following. Kagwe